Hi. I was informed that I might have misled some information about the mixer adjustment the other day. I wasn't meaning to, and so I want to redo this video and share with you that when we're adjusting this mixer and you're doing the dime test, you don't want it to physically make the dime spin around in the bowl. You just want to barely touch it. So you don't want your attachment stuff. You don't want your attachment stuff to any of your whisk or your paddle. You don't want it to physically touch all the way down to the bottom of your bowl. You just want it to barely see it touch the dime, so it maybe makes it wobble a little bit, but you don't want it to go all the way to the bottom and touch it, because you don't want it to mess up any of your attachments or the motor in your mixer. But to remember to highlight, or to reminder to adjust this, you get a flathead screwdriver, and there's this screw down here. So if I can get down where you see it right here, where you would make your adjustments to where you would need it to. And then after that, you are gonna have to a little bit scrape down the sides, at least to get the side of the remainder of your stuff that you're making. If you're making pizza dough, cake, cookies, you'll have to take your spatula and at least scrape down the sides to help you get all incorporated well into what you're making. It's taken me trials and errors trying to figure that out, but so I wanted to share that with you guys. So I'm gonna put it on here and let you see that it's not to the right spot where it should be, so you guys can do it. I'm gonna use the flat one because to me it helps you engage or whatever, determine that it's not quite the right depth inside the bowl to mix the stuff. So we're gonna get it all adjusted in here, and I'm gonna put the dime right in the middle of the bowl here on the little dome part. So I'll move out my camera out so you guys can see. And we're gonna turn it on. And as you can see, it's not even touching the dime. So I'm just gonna lower it just a little bit because I don't want it to be all the way against the bottom of the bowl, but just so that it touches the dime. And that way things can get well more mixed into your ingredients that you're doing, but also ensures that when you're mixing it, that the paddle or the whisk is not, or the beater is not pushed all the way against the bottom of the bowl. So then it's not harming damaging the bowl or damaging your paddle or beater or whisk thing attachment, and it's not gonna harm your motor. Ensuring that you have well maintained and having more life out of your KitchenAid mixer. So I'm just gonna make just a little adjustments. I'm not gonna do a lot because I don't want it to touch all the way to the bottom, because I don't want it to mess up my motor or mess up my attachments. I just want it to help make sure that it's at the right level or depth inside the bowl, so that everything gets well mixed and there's not tons of unmixed ingredients. But as I stress, once again, once I get it to the right height inside the bowl for the attachment to incorporate the ingredients, you'll still have to take down your spatula and push down the sides of all the ingredients off the side to help finish incorporating make sure all your ingredients are well incorporated together. And so we're gonna do it again, and we're just wanting it to touch the dime, not go all the way to the bottom of the bowl. And I'm checking to see if it's touching the dime. I'm also gonna put my hand down there and see if it's enough space underneath there. Yeah, I'm gonna lower just a little bit more. I just want it to touch the dime. I don't want it to get all the way down to the bottom of the bowl and have this thing touch the bottom. This right here is not because of me doing the adjustment. This is just wear and tear of like letting stuff sit too long in my sink without soaking it and having to scrub it off. So yeah, after you're using your stuff, make sure to remember to get things well cleaned or soaked in the sink for a little bit instead of letting it rub off the coating on your paddle like I did. Okay, just to do a little tiny turn. We're just doing tiny turns, not big turns, because that's not the whole goal, is to have the attachment touch the hole all the way to the bottom of the bowl. There we go. See, it's, I don't know if you guys can see it from there, but it's barely touching it. I know the lighting's not that great and it's hard to see in here, but I'm trying to get the best angle for you guys, but it's barely touching the dime. And that's what you want. You just want it to barely touch the dime, and that's perfect. So it's not too low and it's not too high. It's just right. I just saw it like make the dime wobble a little bit, and that's all I'm looking for. I don't want it to do anything else. I don't want it to have to cause the dime like flying around in the bowl or anything like that. I just want it just barely touching it, so I know that it's well the right height inside the bowl, so that when I'm doing my mixing my ingredients, that everything can get well mixed. And then obviously I'll still have to scrape down the sides to get the remainder that sticks inside of the bowl, and so it can get all mixed well. So I'm excited. So yes, the diamond test works. You just got to remember to make sure that you do not have the attachment when you're adjusting your KitchenAid, that you don't have it down too high or too low, because you don't want the paddle or this little whisk part attachment, you don't want it actually like penetrating. I can show you. So it's not actually touching the bowl. You just want a barely enough space below that if you can see it making the dimes just wobble a little bit, that's perfect. That means there's still enough space down below that your attachment, your paddle, or your beater is not touching all the way to the bottom of the bowl. And so once again, I really do apologize, and I'm glad it was brought to my attention about having it lowered too low, and I forgot to mention that we do not want it to have it lowered too low. We don't want the attachments touching all the way to the bottom of the bowl, because it's applying too much pressure on your attachments. It's applying too much pressure on itself and the bowl, and then it's applying pressure on the part of the motor where it's making the thing turn. So as always, you guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget that I love you from the bottom of my heart, and also that Jesus loves you. Love you. Bye.